the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop. I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad. Cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad. I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't stop.
Hello everybody. If you're wondering how is it that we're live so early, I'll let you in on a little secret. There is a interesting plan here to move the lives over to the morning and to the market open instead of the evening sessions. So you guys do this up. It's up for you to decide whether you like this or not, and let me know in the chat. Before we get started, of course, I want to say hello to our usual members and awesome moderators. Stonks, Leo, and Mike, and who else of the admins are here? Chris is not here. Chris shows up. Chris, hello. I know he usually shows up at these times, these hours. Now, Miami Ram, hello, welcome. Alex, good to see you, brother. John, hello, and welcome. Danny, good to see you all. We're gonna have a blast today. We're gonna go over the markets. We're gonna go over the stocks, the usual suspects. We're kind of gonna go back into the full swing of things. Those who don't know, I had some PC issues in the last week. Sadly, they're not fully resolved yet, but I was able to resolve what is important for us to be able to have these lives and the sessions and everything. So we're basically back on track, and don't worry about it. We will hopefully everything will, fingers crossed, right? Everything will stay on track. Now, real quick, before, so we're not gonna waste too much time, and before we get into sort of announcements. By the way, it's important those who want to stay will stay for some announcements. We have some community announcements today, just like, for example, the fact that we're going live today and all that beautiful stuff. Good discount on the One-on-One Academy that is only gonna last for today, which we're gonna mention later in the live. But let's first focus on the market. Pardon me, I will try to cough not too much and maybe mute myself when I do. I will really do my best. I'm so sorry for this. I'm still not fully healed, but almost there. Almost there. Really, I swear, it's almost there. Now, on the 1 minute, as you can see, there's not much to see. It's pretty boring and kind of usually going to skip it over because, for example, this implies that we will be potentially moving from where we are now. Potentially, we're saying because, well, this can dissipate very rapidly and depends on so many other factors that should not be determined only by the channels and the momentum, but arguably we're currently aimed at around 54.88, which can literally happen as we're talking about it. So not that surprising. Currently, we've been pretty stagnant. Most people are highly excited. Oh, look at that crazy rally and how awesome it's been and all that. I will just recommend to zoom out a little bit and remember this entire rally is within the context of the huge drop we had. I'll just remind you that, which does suck to some extent because we have some gaps to close. And I really was hoping we will never see 55 again until we actually get to the actual correction. I will tell you that the current sort of rate as things are moving, potentially we're going to revisit 55, 55, 55, 55, and literally just maybe today even, just to be more precise, based upon the current sort of trajectory, it appears to be more so into next month, but I doubt that's the case. We'll see why in a second. Let's go over the usual suspects when it comes to time frames. If we're going to look at the current channel in the 5 minutes, the current channel in the 5 minutes is, first of all, very, of course, steep to the upside, but our price action is starting to curve right around 5,500. A DEM number we've seen before, and it's not all that surprising. We know that number is a very strong resistance level, and it appears to be that the market is kind of moving into that wedge, which sucks, because that means we're going to spend most of today's session doing this. Of course, we may slip a little bit because there are a lot of other forces that still may retest how it is that we're doing or going, right? And eventually just to slip over, potentially some sort of a head and shoulders right there. Of course, internal to a larger one, not that important. Let's hyper focus on what the trends and the momentums are. Yes, the momentums are saying. Okay, let's get focused on the momentums before I completely talk nonsense. Let's remove this momentums. The thing that bothers me is that we have this gap right above us, and that will be not so cool, which we can see we kind of ended up relying as a seeding of sorts. We ended up breaking right as the seeding of it is. With it, the level, of course, is around 5,500. Surprisingly, and the seating is around 56, 70, 100. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the momentum allows this to happen or not. Let's just go with what the flow gives us. I mean, the reality is I would be super satisfied if that will get closed and we'll have it sort of, not an issue, not a chore. But I honestly struggle to see how it will succeed. Now, Johnny's here. Hello, Johnny. Good to see Smash and Drag. My God, I'll be smashed to death at this rate. 30 minutes appears to be becoming very rapidly bearish, moving into oversold territory on the stochastic RSI. Can you guys notice how much smoother everything is and it actually works smoother? I hope the stream is just better now. Anywho, 45 minutes will be moving to the downside shortly. We're kind of starting the convergence divergence process that we're having right here at the top, which means we're slowly going to be moving to the downside, potentially with some retests. But let's confirm that because that's only 45 minutes. What we usually do here is we look at 30 minutes, right? Get the consensus of 30 minutes, 45, and an hour. And all these together kind of give us an idea of what's going on. Those understand the importance. We definitely had here a multitude of impulses that now are finally giving us this edge that I spoke about just pardon me, on yesterday on the live on some other asset, I think, this sort of scenario. Hello, Bedwars gang. Here she is, the DEM legend. Without her, half of this stuff I would have been procrastinating or probably dying before I get to do that. DEM legend, give her a clap there. So, what we're seeing here is kind of very indicative that we're running out of momentum. You can literally see how that momentum is running out. In fact, let's just make it so you guys can see it better. like so. Is that like so? Is that like so? Yeah, you know what? Let's go with like so. You can really see it now. Although it's super dark, weird green, but whatever. As long as that super dark green, let's go with that one. Screw that. Yeah, let's go with that one. Basically is the one that is dominant. We're having bullish price action. Of course, it will bring us higher and higher into oversold conditions as we reach overbought. My God, what did I just say? Overbought conditions. Of course, as we hit that, we end up retesting multiple times, which what actually gives us most of the bullish price action, resulting in a convergence, divergence multiple times, eventually resulting in a downwards a spiral. Once crossing the 50 range, we of course become bearish, while retaining the price action above the 50 means more bullish, breaking down more bearish. Pretty simple idea, nothing all that complicated. Those who don't know, just this was a really quick catch up. So now 4 hours, what are we seeing on the 4 hours? 4 hours is on that step of convergence, which is not also weird, right? And I want to show you something on the 4 hours, if I can make it work. There you go. So the interesting bit here is it's quite normal to see the structure of the momentum on the 4 hour or any time frame that is to appear as such. Basically, again, moving towards that convergence and getting ready to break down. We'll see how persistent that is. But the real thing is, you see, normally you get to see this sort of price action right here at the top of the channel where it's time to start correcting. The problem is now, barely by the skin of the teeth of the market, bullish momentum was able to, you can see with tremendous gaps that will probably, as you can imagine, will be closed very, very shortly. That's normally how the market does it. Even if it leaves it be for a little bit, eventually they get closed, especially given that they're so close. We are stuck between a rock and a hard place because we have a couple of gaps right here. We have the gap right above us. We are torn apart between the forces, and that's why we rely on the momentum to tell us what really the market sentiment is saying. The market sentiment is saying, look, I gave everything I got, and I barely was able to make it to the shorter term channel, which those who were in the live yesterday actually showed why and how these channels develop and transition over time and imply that transitioning to the downside, you know how bad it is that this particular channel is already tugging us to the downside while the larger one hasn't yet had enough data points to flip over, but it will. Now here is the cool one. Here is the really, really, really cool one that sort of shows everything because, well, again, technicals are, they're just forced in essence. They're forced by our sentiment, and there's no way they will show you what is really sort of, you know, they'll just show you what the market sentiment is without the filter of what your bias is, if you allow it to, if you will. Touch the button. Did you touch the button? As you can see, by the way, the price action here was expected to essentially break roughly towards that 5,000 and end up retesting that vicinity maybe multiple times before continuing. But let's remove all that crap just so we can work with the price action. You can see that also is implied via the drawing here, but let's put that aside so we can literally see what's going on here right now. So what's going on here is pretty simple. We're having, again, we're having potential convergence, divergence of our forces right here. In fact, we can see how our K is curving in, right? You can see that if you blow it up very, very neatly. And of course, it's not all that surprising. We normally do that after, as you can see right here, as you can see right here. As you can see right here, we end up turning around. It really depends on the overall flow of the market, the overall direction. Basically, if there is a downtrend that's happening that is not visible because this is, well, like a seismograph, it goes from top to bottom and basically has the limitation of showing you the current volume that is happening or the accumulated momentum through the volume, using the volume rather, that is, and the moving average of. Now, what you really get here is something interesting. On the weekly, supposedly we're seeing, well, bullish momentum, right? That's supposed to be implying that we will be moving higher, which can actually end up still happening. Like I said, that 5,500, potentially closing the gap, maybe reaching that bottom of the channel, showing that we're transitioning right there. You can see that sort of gives us roughly around 5,600, which we've mentioned yesterday. Very, very improbable. When we spoke about these things just a couple of weeks ago, I said that in my mind, based upon the very negative, strong negative momentum that is accumulated, this will break down prior to being able to break above the 20, or the fact of the matter is we're still tremendously bearish. We'll see how this develops, but at the moment what we are testing is the median of this channel. This is where we're at right now. What I am saying, it's not going to be all that surprising if some of that bullish momentum will be spent before continuing to the downside. Now, again, those who are not familiar and new here, probably asking themselves, why do I think it's is going to go down, right? Or why is this such bearish sentiment? The newcomers will be maybe horrified and surprised. Those who, the OGs will know exactly what we're talking about. The reality of your longer term cycle is far more important than what you're saying on a shorter time frame. In fact, I would argue this 4,800 insufficient retest, which was, again, this entire volatility, so display of back and forth, is tremendously stupid. In fact, I ended up sort of screwing up and missing out on a very beautiful opportunity on the SQQQ. But again, it doesn't matter, because in the long run, I rather miss out on $20 and still gain my 100 and plus and then some, right? Let's put that aside for a second, talk about what is more important. The bottom line is this established level will get retested, obviously, again. The sad reality is that, again, I could have abused this for just another round, so to speak. Now, what we're saying is that bearish momentum, as you can see, that tool is very functioning very well on the other time frames. No surprise, it does the very same thing on the larger time frames. And in fact, here it's very indicative of how we're going to be continuing further downwards. Now we are below the 50 range. This month will be done and over with, and well, it says 5 days, but in reality, what we have left is today's session. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So 4 days in reality. That's all we have now left. 4 sessions. Between now and then, my expectation for the price action is to follow the guideline of this overall, which still implies that within the framework of that, there will be some internal noise, but I doubt that this is how this month will close. My expectation for this month, right before we end up in these 4 days, only 4 days left, is to severely break roughly around towards the 5,000. I don't no longer think we have what it takes to make it to 48. Does not mean we can't. In fact, we can easily end up retesting that 48. But in my mind, based upon my experience and looking at how the weekly still looks like, and there is still bullish fuel in the system, not a lot, very little I would argue, because most of it does not show up on the adjacent timeframes. If anything, it starts implying that this actual bullish momentum is about to start breaking down very, very shortly. In fact, some of you know I was expecting it to start happening this week. It got prolonged just a little bit, but overall it's still going to be what is expected. Now, in my mind, of course, based upon the momentum as we're seeing it. Now, Greg, maybe that's an outlier, and the rest of the longer time frames momentum is a lot more bullish. So let's go over this real quick just so you'll have a better idea of what's really going on. Well, it's becoming bearish, obviously. It still is in bullish territory, but pointing very, very clearly to the downside, as it should. Convergence already happened. So from here on out, we're starting to build that negative trend that will start printing right here from the monthly once we cross over into oversold territory and become even more so bearish than we are right now, giving us even steeper and quicker movements, potentially worse than what we've seen in the last 2 months. All the technicals are pointing to the downside, which to me is extremely surprising. In fact, your half year is very indicative on how strong that bearish trend is. You can identify here a convergence of the forces right at 50, which shows that basically we're retaining that downwards pressure, giving way to the D to take over and giving way to a corrective movement to the downside, which implies that this entire movement that we just seen is just a tiny little droplet inside of a big, big, big bucket of manure that is about to come into the market. So just be a little bit patient, but it's coming. Now that we've gone over this, let's see what you guys went bananas there over in the chat. One of the quick announcements is that anyone who signs up for the One-on-One Academy today, usually the normal price for the academy is 3,000 for a 12 lesson succession, and here we're gonna have something a little bit different. Here, by the way, these are the testimonials from the members, but here, just for now, just for today, if you join in today, instead of it being 3,000 as it says right here, it will be 2,500 just for today. Today only, to be clear, it is only today. It doesn't matter whether you have a member's badge, don't have a member's badge, founder's badge, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anything. Today, if you sign up for the academy today, how do you do that? You reach out to me in the need help right here. You join the Discord, right? The Discord address is http://discord.gg/investory. This is the link to the Discord. Join in. If you want to ask about the academy, just go into need help, because you will see only these two channels. You'll not see the rest. These you'll see only once you're actually in a part of the community, and vice versa. The community members do not see these two. They see these instead. So you, the community members who want to ask about the One-on-One Academy, this is where you open up a support ticket. Just click this green button and you ask about the academy. I'll give you guidance, explain everything, a bit of a Q&A, how to sign up and all that beautiful stuff, the address and everything and all the details where we have our sessions and the one-on-one. I'll explain that, give you the roles, of course. As you can see right here, you can see this is where we speak, where this is where it lights up our main chat, market talk. Just established a new channel just to keep it clean and sort of organized. We have the tickers and the testimonials, most importantly. These are the people that already graduated my One-on-One Academy, right? Various members, you can see and read their various testimonials, right? Some of our admins here, of course, as you can see, wrote after they finished the academy how their experience was. I highly recommend. Now, it's extremely detrimental. Now I'll highlight this. One of my admins told me to highlight this, and I get it. It's tremendously important. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to become a better trader, whether you're a swing trader, day trader, scalper, investor, long-term holder, if you will, whatever, however you define yourself, it doesn't matter. This tool set, these skills, every single person who has above $1 in the market needs to have. Otherwise, it's like driving blind or not being able to see the road, the conditions, and first of all, you don't understand the rules even. So it is literally like putting you through driving school and making sure you actually know how to drive, right? That is something that you would expect your son, daughter, yourself, your neighbor, anybody who goes onto the road to have, right? So you yourself, unlike no different than anybody else, also need to know how to read the market, especially the long-term cycles. Let's say you plan to DCA into the market. How are you planning to DCA into the market? What, from the top to the bottom? You realize that if the bottom is 3,000, you'll probably end up spending most of your money on the process. It's a very difficult process. Wouldn't you prefer to DCA at what would be considered a bottom range, right? Near the bottom, it doesn't have to be all the way through. But to identify, no one says time. Timing is a whole different. Timing is saying when it will happen. No one here even attempts to ever time nor say when things happen, right? It's all about where are we headed and what the potential support and resistance levels that we will be crossing through, testing and relying on or for our path, if you will, right? There are certain rules. There are a lot of tools, there's a lot of things to know, and before you even use the tools and try to identify anything, right? So basically, most people, if you sort of think about it, it's driving blind in the market, have no idea how the road looks like, where it is located, where the walls are, where anything is, and no wonder they end up screwing up. This sort of knowledge, this skill set is a fundamental and a necessity for every single person in the market, no matter how much money you have. More so, preferably, if you still don't have any money in the market, this is perfect. Before you burn your money, join in, learn how to be a professional reader of the market, if you will, understand what is more likely to happen and take actions accordingly. Don't just take actions because of a gut feeling. In my community, we say if you have a gut feeling, take it to the bathroom, it might pass. Okay? Now, there's a lot of FOMO now, and I understand that. This sort of rally, and I warned about this. I have literally warned about this very thing in my community, on my YouTube channel. I literally have warned that this sort of behavior may happen, and people will then be very, very tempted to start buying into the market because, well, look at all this bullish momentum. It's very misleading. It's a form of a bull trap that sort of forces people to hyper focus on what has happened in the recent several sessions instead of actually being able to read into the overall trajectory and understand that what it is, very much like on the opposite side, when we are bullish, we have corrective movements, some of which are actually pretty severe and pretty steep, to the point where we actually have to give back, as you can see in this example, 2/3 of what we've done in a quick succession, far quicker than we actually gained it. And very much so, we do these sort of movements throughout the entire process, even when you see the curve flatten, which is something I showed in yesterday's live. I explained that in depth in my community, of course. My community was prepared and knew about these things. In fact, I warned and said about these very same levels. I also said that based on my experience and sort of how I'm able to read the market, we will not see these highs again, and we'll end up being stopped at around 52, 53 maybe. Kind of that. These were the levels I was aiming that the market will actually end up testing. But I have warned about this. Also, a good example, actually, just to show this off, and something I've mentioned yesterday, just for those who don't know, even when the market was here, by the way, I recommend just go towards to around 11th of March, right, this year. Check out what I was saying on my videos about Tesla. You'll find that I was literally saying, when everybody were bearish and expecting the market to die already, I was saying, no, well, the market will correct higher, maybe even will reach 300. You can see the drawings on the screen. In fact, I remember I was joking about the 333, which you can see on the screen right now. So below and behold, technically speaking, I was able to predict this movement far more accurately than anybody else who was panicking right here. Which here I was literally talking about. This is when I, mentioned all this stuff. How, in fact, let me tell you differently. I was mentioning all of that stuff here as we were dropping, before we even got here. If you go to my videos towards around the end of February, right, this year, you'll still find me talking about the price actions. Look how far in advance I was able to predict it. You think you don't need this sort of skill set? Really? I mean, good luck without it, I guess. It's like saying, I don't need a driver's license to drive. Would you give your son or daughter that sort of advice? Is that something that makes sense to you? Probably not. I'm not even kidding. I warned about these things so far in advance. To just look at it, it's remarkable that people didn't want to listen. And now when these things sort of happen, eventually, well, this sentiment perseveres or sort of skips over everything else that was said by me and other experts. I also like it how we jumped on Palantir back to 100, which I was warning that potentially will get retested. Of course, I did say that in my mind, it's not going to be so high, although I have actually warned exactly about this sort of behavior. If you go back again around February, you'll find me talking about this exact sort of price action. I was warning about retracing back to 103, 108. So all of this stuff was predicted over several months ago. It all depends whether you listened, paid attention, and you retained the knowledge that I gave you here, here, and here, right? If you didn't, sorry, I'm not your private account manager. Ain't gonna chase you, for you not to lose money. I teach people how to be responsible for their own portfolios and being able to, do this right. By the way, those who don't know, I highly recommend you join. Let me show you real quick. This is my YouTube channel. This is how you join, of course. You can see in the videos we have a whole bunch of videos talking about all the stuff that was going, far in advance. By Nvidia, ironically, we were talking about this a year ago because we were talking about what was equal to the 30 right now. All these things still stand. I was warning about these things so far in advance. If you look back about the rally, I was warning about these things so far in advance as well, right? So all these things were predicted. By the way, the imminent crash, just to be clean and clear about it, before anybody ever mentioned this, imminent crash, just to, point out, right? And now the narrative that is happening with the buy the dip sort of narrative, this is horrible. This is just, for you to decide, right? And remember, that's actually something I highlighted in my shorts, how, Warren Buffett was not in such a cash position since the late 60s. You really think your few years, or even my, tens of years in the market at this stage, persevere? Warren Buffett's the person is a god. You really think you know better? Seriously. Come on. No offense to anyone, right? I don't know any better. I don't know better than he does. Come on. And yeah, surely definitely join the Smart Money, join the Academy, so you'll be responsible, independent. This is the lives we do on the daily basis, by the way, very important to mention. And so yeah, then basically the announcement is that I have these 3 spots. They're discounted only for today. Another tremendously important announcement. Those who don't want to take the 101 Academy, but definitely want to join the Patreon, the Discord, do it today, because today this price will be changing. Today, within 24 hours from now, this will be going less. How about 24 hours less? And more like 8 hours from now, this will be changing from 10 to 20. This will be changing from 20 to 40. It is what it is. I've given more than enough time. My bad, in fact, that it took so long because I had PC issues. You gain with these a whole array of perks and benefits. With this one, you get one meeting a week, not including, of course, these sort of extras that we do if it's earning calls or various earning calls. Of course, we're not going to do every single earning call in the market. No, don't write to me, Greg, why are we not doing this fringe stock that no one talks about? And I'm not saying we do all earning calls, but we talk about them. We do FOMC meetings. We do all sorts of cool things. Here you get 2 weekly meetings and a lot of other benefits and perks, of course. You all get access to Charting 101. You get access to tickers where you can place a new ticker that we discuss and go over the charts and ask questions. My positions, of course, are revealed to everybody here, that you just get a lot more meetings throughout the week and you can discuss with me one-on-one. And that's a pretty good and cool feature, I would say. Definitely join the Discord so you can come and hang out with us in the various channels, talk about the various topics, and of course analyze the market. Be always up to speed when I go live, what my opinions and stuff, and very importantly, get ad-free content that is only seen by the Discord, but by the Patreon members. The only way to get to Discord is via Patreon, and so you get all that ad-free content and the members meetings, which I'm very much behind. I'm so sorry because, again, computer broke. Sorry. Just got it stable. But yeah, that's that. Back to market. I think we've gone through that. We've gone through Palantir. Let me check what's up with the chat. Talk about Wix on monthly and 3-month. How this time is different from August cycle and momentum perspective. I can try and see if I can present it in a way that's going to be simplified enough for the average viewer. Yeah, absolutely. Look, in reality, it's pretty simple. We are seeing a tug of war here, right? Between the bears and the bulls. This is our constant reality. This is not a turn-by-turn game or something of this sort. What you see is the outcome of all the price action, right? So the current month, basically what we see is that the price action was able to retrace conveniently, of all places, to retest the median, which I was kind of surprised that we slipped through all so much. But I also probably said that, well, not probably, I know I have, that we may end up retesting, which actually, in essence, this is worse for us. This is preferable because, that's going to kill a whole bunch of time. This is actually better. Sadly, what we're doing right now does not necessarily cancel that. It still may happen, ironically. But what we're seeing here is that the bulls were able to eat away, right, at well, a significant chunk of the price action. I will highlight, of course, that the price action, in fact, throughout the beginning of the month was, in fact, very bullish. We got very high, and so the breakdown that we had is very, very, very steep. The fact of the matter is that we're closing in on the end of the month. Again, 4 more days left. That's it. Just 4 days. Jesus, I can't even write clean number. But 4 more days left. And within these 4 days, given the momentum that we're currently retaining, it's highly unlikely for us to print anything different. In fact, as I already said, and some of you heard me say, and based on what I'm seeing right now, it's far more likely that we're going to get closer to 5,200 or maybe just 5,000 flat within the framework of these 4 days. It's not a certainty. I don't want to hear in 4 days, oh, Greg, we didn't do it. No, I'm saying it can. The door for that possibility is definitely in the works, right? We're seeing some of it is sort of being generated as we see it right now. It might take a little bit longer. For right now, this is what we have. We are seeing indication. It doesn't necessarily mean certainty, but we are seeing very clear indicative sort of behavior to say that, yes, we are shortly about to get a little bit more bearish momentum. Conveniently, we're residing at very convenient levels that, well, we've been retesting and going through for the recent past, and it's pretty clear that we're transitioning into. And so, yeah, it's not going to be all that surprising if we'll end up testing them before we break down those ceilings. The only thing that bothers me, really, I'm really, really annoyed at, and that's why I wanted these gaps to be closed in the first place, because think about it this way. If this gap was never generated right now, we wouldn't have anything to talk about or argue to why should we be going higher. And if anything, the conviction here would have been very clear and simple, right? This puts throws a stick into our tires, right, into our spokes. So that's not also cool. I would love it if these gaps were not created, but this is what we have. Based upon the momentum and how it is, it's very unlikely for us to actually spend our time anymore on closing it further, as it seems we're already breaking. But knowing how the market behaves and is, no, it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to get magnetized because how close we are to that 5,500. Slip out. You're like, well, that's slippage. That means, no, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Slippage is a normal part of how the market looks like. So if we look at the market overall, looking back again, now that we dissected the 3 months, we saw how it looks internally. It's not like this price action that we just saw is gone anywhere. It is just eaten away relative to the current location. It does not show us the full brunt of how negative this month is unless you're looking at the wick. The wick dragged us down almost all the way to the support. Some people would argue it even tested it. For me, even if it did test it, first of all, it's not enough. And what it is indicative of is how bearish the market is becoming. We can see actually very clear indications of that sort of relative behavior as we're closing into that overall turn. So what we're seeing on the monthly is actually relatively okay, not all that surprising, but still the fact of the matter that basically what you see, this battle, the outcome of this battle is that the bears won. And the bulls gave everything they had, everything and then some, right? Basically squeezing, every little tidbit. And after all that, the bulls are still completely losing and the bears are so on top that it's not even funny. Even I'm surprised and horrified at how quickly this market became so bearish. I've expected this entire process to take roughly about 3 months. It ended up happening, just the levels at what we are now should have happened probably by the end of next month. We ended up exceeding any of my expectations by roughly about 2.5 months. So those who say, "Oh, look at how bad how sort of bad it is for the bears right now," what are you talking about? We're ahead of schedule, significantly ahead of schedule. That was actually weird. Even I was, as a bear, was saying that's weird. But given how the market is, that's not also weird, nor should you rely for the market to retrace also high. In fact, you should rely on the actual direction of the current trend. The trend is your friend. Very good question, by the way. There, Bedwars gang. I'll be so happy one day to see that you actually change your name to something normal. That would be so cool. You and Alan. Anywho, 3 months, still very bearish. The very same candlestick, just a little bit more, condensed, if you will, implying the very same thing, that overall we're still bearish. We're just testing what you saw as the bottom of the channel there. It is the ceiling of the channel here. But a normal process, as we know, slippage is a normal process, especially within the framework of such great and strong momentum over a long period. So what we got here, and this is why I was warning all the way from 5,400, guys, conveniently the very same number I was warning from, that where we're supposed to start breaking. Well, yeah, we exceeded, but not as much as you think. The channel took some time to readjust because, well, that's how the market is, and I was warning about this multiple months ago, because the market can, or at least these tools can get misaligned temporarily, right, and mislead you. And that's part of the stuff I teach in the academy, and I teach you how to identify when the tools are misleading, to use manual sort of processes, how to just be able to read it without the lines necessarily, understand how the scheme of the market works. All of that stuff is being taught in the academy, and actually teaches you why academia generally fails so miserably teaching people the technical analysis and stock market analysis overall. So I highly recommend take the opportunity, because the discount, just to put in simple terms, all discounts are only available for today. Don't miss out. No, what's up? Fine. Now you arrive. Already gone through Tesla. Already gone through this. Now you arrive. Seriously, Noi? Come on, man. Come on, man. What is that? Tesla is, as you can see, and this is something I've mentioned earlier when I was talking about it, is that Tesla is basically, look, unlike other people, you can literally go to my videos around February and find out that I was talking about these very cycles and trends that will happen, and about this sort of behavior. And if you think about it, like, literally, I've created all this stuff around February. Go watch. I mean, no bullshit. And I said 300 and 333. So in fact, the market didn't even reach the highs that I said it might, because that's, as you can see, the ceiling of the channel. So in fact, Tesla is having a lot worse than I said it will. All in all, I mean, I'm even doing the hard work for the bulls, guys. This is hilarious. Like, Greg, you're bearish, blah, 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 blah. I analyze, no bias. I give whatever the market shows me. I don't give a crap. You know what it is. The market is basically about to run out of momentum on Tesla, and you're about to start falling down with the rest of the market. It's not a big secret. The only thing that looks to you bullish temporarily so is that weekly, because it's misleading you. It's misleading everyone. But it's the same crap that you see on the SPX. The problem is, the difference is here it's a little bit more obvious, staying below in oversold area. So Tesla down. I said 300, guys. Your Tesla is not doing it as well as I said it will. Okay, just to be clear. You don't believe me? Go watch my videos from February and around that time, right? Again, especially at the bottom here, when everybody were yelling, end of Tesla is coming, we're rushing to 100. I said this is bullshit. We'll be correcting, and I was so surprised how bad it got. Watch my videos. I've said it all far in advance, even for you, the bulls. All right, now. All Trump tweets. What Trump tweets? It's not organic move. No, that's true. Nothing is organic at the moment, Mike. I mean, come on. Right now, organic is only in your dreams. In your tea. That's the only place where you get organic. In your cannabis, I don't know, whatever whatever you grow, right? But overall, yeah, we're still very bearish on all fronts, especially with Tesla. You're basically about to go full on bearish. Expect, to see the levels, the price levels of 100. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. Any schmuck that's going to ask me tomorrow why Tesla is not at 100 can go screw himself right now in advance, okay? This will take a long time. But Tesla overall, if you ask my opinion and based upon the structure, is headed like most of the rest of the market downwards. The current level that I'm seeing for Tesla is roughly around 100. In fact, it may be even lower, closer to 80, but that will be actually slippage from 100. It's going to be hard to identify, but still, even if the market hits 80 or 90, technically it's still 100. Just, yeah, know that. So when people are going to be panicking, like, sell Tesla at 80, I'll be buying Tesla like there's no tomorrow. You do you, manage your own portfolio. Hopefully everybody are adults here. That's what they're meant to be. This channel is not for children. Children, if you're here, get the hell out. Shouldn't be here. Many likes. Exactly. Nannies, thank you. Thank you, beautiful admins. Nannies, I am so grateful to have you, Mike, Bedwars, Christoph, Stonks. All of you are awesome, 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 awesome support and help for me. And if you guys were not here, I would have probably not been able to handle this thing remotely nearly as good as you guys helped me do this thing. And I'm tremendously forever grateful for all the great stuff you do for me and for the community and everything. You guys, much love from the core of my soul. Okay. Bedwars, I hope that answered your question. Oh, Trump tweet. Bad words. Have I answered? You're not telling me anything. 80 likes and 19 watching. You know why? Because I'm also watching and I didn't do like. You see how it's gonna fix? Let me fix this. You see, now I'm gonna fix this, right? You see, now I did a like. You see, now that I did a like, it's gonna be fine. Stunks, I'm also watching. I have to watch in order to see the chat, bro. Come on. All mods are legends. Absolutely. Without you guys, this would have been very difficult. You really make this so much easier and so much fun. And I mean, you're awesome. Thank you. Seriously. Now, again, so the plan here is we're going to try and do these early. Now I'm a little bit late. Also, tell me, boys and girls, what do you prefer? Of course, write to me, whether in the in the chat here, as a comment, whatever you guys how you prefer to have the live calls. Do you prefer to have them as the market opens, 1 hour into the market, where all the volatility subsides? Whether do you prefer to have it in the evening? I'm now open to change the time of the live. We're not going to have all of them. That's going to be impossible. But the idea here is to do the live early, so you guys get prepared for the rest of the day and potentially maybe for tomorrow as well, because we're going to go over the longer time frames as well. But the idea here is not to do just have a video for you guys watch, maybe for the community members ad-free content, something. Of course, I'll do some of that stuff. Of course, unrelated, right? By the time you wake up, it's already sort of like a good, nice cup of coffee ready for you. But the idea here is to move the lives, right? What we do in the evening, to do it earlier to the market open, if you will. So I would love to hear your opinion, whether it's in the chat, whether it's in the comments, whether it's in the Discord, however you boys and girls choose to say that sort of stuff. Yes, to point out price to go down to 4,800 area. Look, to be honest, with these 4 days, of course, we, the people who know proper analysis and ourselves able to apply it, we can see how it still is possible. Understand that statistically speaking, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But we also understand how very unlikely it is at the same time within the framework of these 4 days. What is far more likely is 5,200 or 5,000, right? But that 4,800 will, of course, play a role in our gradual decline and will pose as a resistance support level that we've already established and shown that we are aware of as we decrease within the following sessions, if you ask me. Based upon what we're seeing on the monthly and the weekly and the daily, I would say that the continuation of this downtrend is not far off. By the way, those who know how to read the weekly can basically understand that really what's going on here is just this sort of downwards trend and a cycle that is coming to an end. It's a little bit more sophisticated than you normally see, but that's kind of what's happening here. And inside the cycle, there's another cycle. There's a mega cycle, big cycle, large cycle, chupacabra cycle, all the cycles. Motorcycle, bicycle cycles, schmeicles, unicycles, all of them. Bears on unicycles, right? Don't forget those. All right. Alrighty. What else? And then, all right. So Yeah, boys and girls, I would love to hear your opinion about the live time. Like I said, when would you prefer to have the live lime? Okay. When do you prefer to have the live, in the morning or in the evening? Because my thinking is to move it to the morning. Please do let me know. Otherwise, it'll be just my decision, and it'll be whatever I choose. I do want to know what you guys think and prefer. Now things make more sense. Well, it always takes me time to find out what everyone likes, so I just have to be patient. Johnny, why? Not true. You're not always behind. Touch. Ooh, touch everything. Next one, because I had months with long down wicks before then. Market continue to go up. This time we expect downwards. Right. It's a different place in the cycle. There is no way properly to show nor explain it to somebody who does not understand proper in-depth technical analysis, especially given the tools that we're using. And even, again, it requires some foundational knowledge. It's a wonderful question right there, Bedwars, but I don't think there is a proper way to show it. So the point that you're highlighting, but we were in a completely different place in the cycle. Basically, it's also very different than when we see these corrective movements on an uptrend, and then we are transitioning into the actual downtrend, which is very different. So what we saw is just partial corrective movements inside, right? The same way we see corrective movements inside that are opposite, right? We're going to see, again, when we transition to that side, temporary upside movements, but overall the result will be downwards. Yohanan, good to see you there, brother. Between 1.5 to 2 hours after the market open. That's cool. You see, guys do like Yohanan. Yohanan, I asked a question. He answers. Guys, what are you waiting for? Please, interaction. That's what we want to know here. Me likes lives. Yes, Stonks want more lives. No, absolutely. I think this is sort of the best we can do talking about it, but we are now just getting started with the trend. Like, look, it's also very similar to how when we begin the trend to when we finalize it, we get hints of what's really going on. And in this instance, we are being hammered down very badly. This is, by the way, is a hammer candlestick. Those who don't know, it basically has a little bit of a top above, right? Just like a hammer would look like. And this long handle, and this sort of, this is a hammer candlestick, just for you to know. And it hammers us downwards, boys and girls. With Yohanan as well, 2 hours after open, seems fine. Yes, always prefer to have, I don't know about 2 hours, but like an hour. I don't know about 2 hours. 2 hours is a bit problematic. That's going to start slipping into the schedule of the students. But 1 hour after market open is definitely... Look, 2 hours means it's going to be 3 people for 2 hours. I see it's... but again, that goes to show that it's not so bad. The idea more so is to... I'm not exactly asking about the exact time, but more so closer to market open, and rather than market close. That's more so the intention, okay? To be more precise, 1 hour is better. I think so as well. I think it'll be suitable perfectly when the volatility subsides and all that. So absolutely. I did say I like the lives early. I agree with Yohanan. Anis, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I probably missed. I like live earlier. Yeah. Sorry, I see that. My bad. And then Yep. Marian, no legend. Stupid. Stupid alien. Closer to market open. Okay, so the overall conclusion is that we're coming to an end of our bullish momentum, and is going to continue with the downwards pressure. Of course, has to match with your schedule. No, sure, absolutely, Christoph. But I do think the schedule can be adjusted still, right? But I do think. I think I really spent some time thinking about it. I really do think you guys will benefit a lot more from the calls, having them earlier. That way you'll be prepared for today's call, and of course tomorrow's call anyway. Everybody's a lot more fresh. the mind is fresh, nobody's tired, not running anywhere. So I think, yeah, I think so. DK says, Greg, closer to market open. It seems that the consensus is overall, towards market open. And there are other members that already I spoke to in the community itself. So it appears to be that, yeah, market open for now is leading. We might even do a poll in the community. We'll see what will happen. That's it. But so far, for now, that's it. I guess that's it for today. Join the community. Definitely take opportunity and use the discounts. That's a very, very important thing, because the discounts will be over today, literally at the end of trading, maybe slightly after that. But overall, the discount is only applicable for today, both for Patreon, both for One-on-One Academy. Doesn't matter what you want to subscribe to. All of them are discounted today. Tomorrow, no discount. Today, yes discount. Tomorrow, no discount. Very simple. Join in so you can hang out with us on the Discord, ask questions, get all the wonderful information, watch all the highlights and the stuff that we post, especially for the members, and many other awesome things, right, in the community that you can benefit from. By the way, being an Academy member gives you a lifetime membership in the Discord. And yeah, so yeah, just for you to know, Academy members benefit significantly. Yep. Nanny's got your back, boys and girls. She got you 6. She gave you the address to the Patreon right there in the chat, so you guys and girls can join and hang out with us and me on an almost daily basis, where we are having these lives, hangouts and whatnot. But definitely every day we got something. Something is going on. Some material is being released. Something is going on for the community members. That's all the time. We do something. All right. So with that in mind, you boys and girls have a wonderful session for today. A wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week. Next week we are certainly, beyond the shadow of a doubt, maybe there will be a little mishap there. Hopefully there will not be, because I'm getting again the power supply one way or another. Don't worry, we're gonna keep it stable, right? Even if it may take a couple of hours throughout the week somewhere next week, one way or another, we're gonna keep it stable. And from here on out, we're going back to normal schedule. Students and all, okay? Students, hangouts, live meetings, everything is going back to normal. Fingers crossed, right? That's what we got here. Love you all. See you on the next one. Bye for now.